What do you guys want to talk about?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of For the Love of Wrestling. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams. Happy Tuesday. Good to see people tuning in this morning. Got a little bit to discuss here from Monday Night Raw last week. Not last week, last night, excuse me. That goes to show how tired I am. Forgive me. But yeah, should be a good episode. Rumors are coming out that apparently Seth Rollins got injured in his match against Jinder Mahal last night. Hopefully nothing too serious where WrestleMania plans have to get scrapped. Maybe Seth can take it easy till then and still do the Mania match before getting some time off. We'll just have to see how severe things are. But Monday Night Raw was on Dr. Martin Luther King Day. So, of course, as WWE do, we opened with a nice little video package about Dr. Martin Luther King and the dream that he once had before we see both Seth freaking Rollins and the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal arriving at the arena in Arkansas. First segment of the show, we had Cody Rhodes come out and he began talking about Little Rock. And he made an off-the-cuff reference to the Colin Ray song, Little Rock, which I thought was so cool because I actually know the song he's talking about. Seemed like the crowd didn't really get the reference. May have been a little bit too young of a crowd. The song came out in, I want to say, 93, 94. I see Statboy in the chat room. If you can fact check that for me real quick, Statboy. Colin Ray, Little Rock. It came out there in the early 90s, though. So, it's about a 30-year-old song. A lot of the crowd may not have known it, but I got the reference, having listened to a lot of 90s country back in the day. And then Drew McIntyre comes out and interrupts. And they begin to reminisce about their days as tag team champions. A lot of people forget about that. The dashing ones, Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, were once upon a time tag team champions. Start talking about their past and how they had to leave the WWE to establish their identities and their names, and how Drew's last match before coming back to WWE was against Cody Rhodes. It then evolves from there into taking jabs at each other. Why are you for a guy like Jey Uso? Why are you for a guy like CM Punk? Even kind of hinted a little bit at Cody in AEW, saying you had to deal with him more recently than the rest of us did. Since there was that brief little passing in the night where Cody and Punk were in AEW at the same time. And then Cody kind of flips it on Drew. And before he leaves, he points out that, you keep bringing up the last match he had before coming back to WWE was against me. Do you remember how that match ended? I beat you. We then go to a segment backstage with Damian Priest and R-Truth, and Priest catches Truth coming back inside from having been selling Judgment Day merchandise in the parking lot. And Priest is kind of put off by this. He's a little bit offended at first until R-Truth hands him a wad of cash. And Priest is like, "What's this?" Truth is like, "It's your cut." Because he's been selling the t-shirt that's got the Finn and Priest and Rhea and Dirty Dom, and then in the duct tape, and R-Truth. He's been selling that shirt in the parking lot. And so he hands Priest his money, and Priest tells him, "In your match tonight, do not tag in." And Truth is like, "Oh, okay, don't tag in." Doing the over-exaggerated wink thing. Our first actual match of the night was a banger between Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough taking on DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. This was a fantastic match to kick Raw off. Terrific fast-paced action, a good balance of high-flying and technical wrestling. DIY got the victory here. Not a whole lot of surprise. When it comes to the tag team game in the Judgment Day, Dom and JD definitely come off like the B team, while Priest and Balor are the A team. So you kind of felt like Dom and JD are going to kind of be used for that jobber team, so that the team that beats them can say that, they beat the Judgment Day. Well, you haven't beaten the champs. So they can kind of stagger their way up. You beat Dom and JD, then you get a shot at the champs. We then go backstage and we get Adam Pearce, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell. And they want an opportunity at the women's tag team titles. Well, here come Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And of course, Chelsea's got something to complain about, Karen that she is. And she complains about the officiating in their title rematch last week. So Adam Pearce is like, well, you guys want another shot. You've got a complaint to file. These girls want a shot at the titles. Put you guys in a match against each other. Winner gets the title shot. We then go from there to the Judgment Day backstage. Strike that. We then go into the match, and it's Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. And this was a fun, quick match, little bit sloppy, still entertaining. Everything that you expected to happen happened here. I do forget who actually won the match. Forgive me, I forgot to take note on that one. That's my bad. R-Truth style. Let me see here if I can stall and find it real quick. Yeah, so Indy and Candice did win. That's kind of what I figured, but I wasn't positive. Didn't want to speak out of line. So Indy and Candice are now in line for a shot. And once Kaden Carter and Katana Chance have their match against Isla Dawn and Alba Fire this week on SmackDown, they'll probably defend them on Raw against Indy and Candice. But like I said, the match was definitely sloppy. I won't call botches because I don't feel that's right. None of us are in the ring trying to do what they're doing. And I don't know if it was a matter of Indy and Candice, still being new-ish to the main roster, or if it was Chelsea and Piper. It doesn't really matter, but you watch the match, there was definitely a little sloppy action going on. Then we go to the Judgment Day backstage, and this is basically what Judgment Day backstage segments have been lately. Rhea says she has business to take care of and leaves. JD is upset that Priest won't do anything about R-Truth. Finn wants to know where Priest has been. And Priest is like, well, since I seem to be the only one that wants to do anything about Drew McIntyre, I went to Adam Pearce. They have a match against each other next week. Just standard Judgment Day fare. We then had Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser come out. And Gunther reminds people about his performance in the Royal Rumble last year. Because a lot of people, I think, are forgetting about the fact that he started at number 1 and was the last man eliminated by Cody Rhodes for Cody Rhodes to win. People are talking about Cody repeating, CM Punk winning, Randy Orton winning, AJ Styles, LA Knight, but people are forgetting about Gunther and what he did last week. And he makes a very compelling argument to the Arkansas crowd about how he could very easily walk in there and dominate. At this point, Xavier Woods comes out and Ludwig Kaiser gets on the microphone, and Woodsy and Kaiser go back and forth a little bit. Woods issues a challenge to Kaiser, which develops into a match based off of what Kaiser did to Kofi last week. And we get Xavier Woods versus Ludwig Kaiser. And this was a just outright fight. There was very little wrestling action in this. This was a pure six brawl. Both men slugged it out until Woods ended up getting himself disqualified. And then there was even more brutality post-match. From there, we get a Bronson Reed promo, very vague, talking about how he's coming after a man with a title. Does that mean he's coming after Seth Rollins? Does that mean he's coming after Gunther? Does that mean he's going after Senior Money in the Bank? Is the Money in the Bank briefcase a title that he's talking about? Is he coming after Priest and Balor? Is he coming after somebody in NXT, the North American champion? Very vague. He doesn't say, I'm coming after you and insert a name. He just says, I'm coming after a man with a title. We then get Xavier Woods and Byron Saxton backstage, and Ludwig Kaiser jumps him. Jey Uso has to pull him off. Just continuing all of that. Now, they said Kofi was going to be out of action for a couple of weeks. I think he's coming back in the Rumble. They're going to save it for that. They'll have Woodsy in the Rumble with Kaiser. Maybe Gunther will come in. There'll be a 2-on-1 going on in the Rumble. Then Kofi will come out to even things out. He'll get the pop. Maybe Kofi and Woodsy will eliminate Kaiser, and then Gunther will eliminate Kofi and Woodsy. That's kind of the way I see things going at this point. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I see there's quite a few of you guys watching, but not a lot of interactivity in the comment section right now. We then had Akira Tozawa versus Ivar, and this was just a very short match, very fun match, but Tozawa shocked everybody by hitting a sunset flip powerbomb off of the top rope onto Ivar for the win. Ivar and Valhalla then attacked Tozawa and Maxine post-match. And then we go backstage post-commercial, and Alpha Academy is there with the Creed brothers. And Chad Gable wants to make Ivar pay, as does Ivy Nile. And we're going to get Ivy Nile versus Valhalla next week. So we get Gable versus Ivar, Nile versus Valhalla next week. Should be some really good action as we build towards the Rumble here. We then get a Rhea Ripley promo, which Becky Lynch interrupts, which was the default picture for the video here today. And she talks about how she's the man, how she's good, but she's got that little bit of wonder of if Rhea's better than her. Definitely looks like they're starting to set up Rhea versus Becky for the Rumble. I do not want that match. I'm going to say it again. I do not want that match. I don't want to see any of the horsewomen in title matches at WrestleMania. Period. Charlotte's out on injury, so she can't be in one. we need Bayley, Becky, and Sasha if we can get Mercedes back in the Rumble versus Io, Asuka, and Kairi. That's the match we need at the Rumble. If Dakota is good enough to go, put her in there. And if we get Trinity back as well, put Trinity in there on Bayley's team. That's the match we needed WrestleMania. Non-title. Then the Raw match can be Rhea versus Raquel, Rhea versus Jade, Rhea versus Liv. People are wanting, and I don't want that either. If I'm being 100% honest, Liv Morgan does not deserve it. I would rather have Rhea versus Nia. Yeah. Thank you, Emmanuel. I see you just popping in. If Becky wins and Nia didn't, what kind of logic is that? We don't need Rhea versus Becky. Stop planting those seeds. See? At least I'm not the only one. We need to keep the horsewomen away from the title. We have enough talent on the main roster where the horsewomen can retire and the women's division is fine. We do. We then had a Seth Rollins interview regarding his upcoming match against Jinder Mahal. It was a pretty fun interview, for being honest. Seth was being Seth. We then had the Awesome Truth versus Priest and Balor representing the Judgment Day. And this was a great blend of comedy and serious wrestling. You know, Truth came out there kind of like lingering behind the Judgment Day during their entrance without doing his own entrance. He didn't come out with The Miz, who was his partner. So we have the whole, is R-Truth part of the Judgment Day? Is he not? Is he with The Miz? Is he not? He goes to give Finn Balor his cut of the t-shirt money from, like he gave to Priest earlier. He fumbles it in the ring, starts picking it up, handing it to Balor, sticking it in his jacket pocket, hands Balor some more, and he's like, sticks it in his other pocket. Like, it was like a Keystone Cops, a Three Stooges. Like, it was so funny watching this segment. The match almost became secondary because the comedy pre-match was just so good. Of course, Priest hit the South of Heaven, got the victory for the Judgment Day. Let's see. Okay, so if Mercedes isn't at the Rumble, there's still very heavy rumor that Trinity will be back. Naomi. She lost the title at Hard to Kill to Jordan Grace. Congratulations to Jordan Grace. And the rumor is her TNA contract expires on the 20th. That's this weekend. The following weekend is the Rumble. So if Mercedes doesn't come back, it can still be Bayley, Becky, and Naomi versus Io, Kairi, and Asuka. Waiting for R-Truth finally say he wants to fight against the Judgment. Yeah, that's what I want to. I want the Awesome Truth to become tag champions again. I just think that would be so great. We had a Jinder Mahal promo, and he was kind of meditating as he was being asked his questions. And he even delivered his entire promo in almost a meditative state. His eyes were closed and just took a couple of breaths, and he cut his promo. And then once he was done, he opened his eyes. And it was a really good promo from Jinder, I'm not gonna lie. That's fair. I'm not Mercedes's biggest fan either, Emmanuel. Honestly, I actually like Mercedes less than I do Charlotte, if you can believe it or not. But I think she works for this storyline, even if it's just a one-off. You know, we saw Bailey and Mercedes backstage at Hard to Kill, watching Trinity's final match, taking a picture with Jordan Grace. Like, seeds are being planted right there. The two of them were watching Trin's final match. If that doesn't like smell seeds being planted for something, I don't know. We then had another women's tag match with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Natalia and Tegan Knox. This was another fun match, kind of short, but you know, decent action for the women. Natalia tapped out. It was what it was. I'm seeing people online saying that they're tired of seeing Natalia lose. She deserves better. I agree with that to a certain extent, but you've also got to get the youngsters over. And I've got I've gotten to the point where I kind of look at Natalia kind of like Terry Funk in ECW. And what I mean by that is if you watch the rise and fall of ECW, you hear Paul Heyman talk about the way Terry Funk would come down there. And he was one of the few veterans that realized that if he didn't get the new talent ready, there'd be no business left to leave them. And Terry Funk would look around the locker room. I can make that guy. I can make that guy. I can do something really special with them. I feel like that's Natalia these days. Between her and TJ Tyson Kidd running the new dungeon, between the way that she's constantly in tag teams now more than singles matches, the way that she's always losing to people like a Zoe Stark or even a Shayna Baszler. She is that Terry Funk role. You know, I can make them. I can make them. I can do something special with them. And every now and again, she gets her, for lack of a better term, her Lifetime Achievement Award run, and she gets a tag title with somebody, or maybe she'll get a major match for a women's championship. But she's at that point, she doesn't really need it. She's the elder stateswoman of the women's division. Finally get to Jinder Mahal versus Seth Rollins. And this match, I think, was better than people expected it to be. It was a really good, hard hitting, balls to the wall performance. I think Jinder had a lot to prove to people about why he deserved to be in there in the first place. And I think that Seth did a lot to really kind of show that Jinder deserves to be in the main event scene. I don't know what happened during the match where Seth got injured, but again, like I stated in the beginning when I came on the air, apparently Seth suffered an injury to his leg. He's supposedly getting an MRI done today. At least that's what the rumors are saying. Getting an MRI done today to see how severe it is. With any luck, it's something that, as long as he stays off of it from now until Mania, we can at least get to the Mania match with what I presume will be him and CM Punk, and then he can drop the title to CM Punk there, go get surgery if needed, and then come back and pick up the feud. But I think that I'm hoping that Seth is not serious enough where he can get to that point, because he's able to put weight on it, reports say, but you can definitely see him walking with a limp. So it sounds like it's the type of thing that as long as he has it heavily taped and braced, he can probably get through a match. One match, not 10 matches between now and WrestleMania. One match. Maybe two tops. Let's see here. Emmanuel says the Shayna and Zoe team needs to be dropped, or Natty and Tegan. I don't know what you do with them, but they're not clicking with the crowd. See, I don't know if I agree with that. I just think that the crowd needs to be more open. You know, Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, when it comes right down to it, and I'm sorry if this sounds like piggish, I don't think they're clicking with the crowd because they're not pretty enough. You know, and I'm not saying that I don't find them attractive, but you look at Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. You look at Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. You look at Chelsea Green. You know, you even look at the Kabuki Warriors. They're all attractive women. Shayna and Zoe, not in the same league. You know, Tegan and Natty, I could see Tegan maybe turning on Natty down the road, or vice versa, doing a Rockers type of thing, breaking up, but I don't know. I think the crowd needs to be more open and realize that not every woman is going to be a Barbie doll like we had during the Attitude Era or during the Divas title era. Seeing this, the IWC crapped on this. They said no chemistry and it was boring. I thought it made Jinder look great, but disappointed that people didn't see it that way. I hear you, Emmanuel. Again, I think a lot of people have closed minds when it comes to Jinder Mahal. They automatically think back to his title run, and they automatically hated it, so they didn't want to see him in this role. And I just feel like people are too closed-minded about it. It's like Jinder Mahal is a hell of a performer. He wouldn't still be with the company if he sucked that bad. You know, you think about it, Jinder's the only one that never left when it comes to three-man band. Drew left and came back. Heath left. Jinder's the one that's been there the whole time. There's something about Jinder. That's going to just about wrap it up for today. Before I get to the shills, I am going to take just a moment to run a quick commercial break, show you all the upcoming specials that'll be hitting open mic night across the Jeff Meacham Network Multiversus Media, beginning with this weekend and The Price is Right. We'll be right back. And we are back. So yeah, we've got all that stuff coming up in the next few months across the multiverse of media when it comes to our special events for Open Mic Night. Kicking off this Saturday with our take of The Price is Right, as Emmanuel, who you've seen in the chat room, defends his Open Mic Night Game Night Championship against Greg Cherry, Statboy Mike, and I believe Walter Cruz said that he was going to throw in his hat. 4 contestants trying to see who the better man is. Make sure you guys tune in later on today, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Statboy Sports Bar special time today, as I have to be in the director's chair. Jeff has got familial obligations, and I wasn't able to get assistance to be able to do it earlier. So 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Stat Boys Sports Bar. Okay. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel, for my review of NXT. Should be a good one. We have a 20-woman gauntlet match this evening. And then when it gets down to the final 4, it turns into a fatal 4-way. So that should be a fun match to talk about and review. Hopefully we'll also have a little bit more news on Cora Jade and the injury that she apparently suffered at a house show. And until then, I am the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate you.